Hey folks, Landstryder here, and welcome back to another episode of Mystical Misadventures. I'm here in my blood magic laboratory, and we are getting ready to level up this blood magic stuff to the next tier. So we're already at tier 3. You can see behind me that little number right there is the amount of blood in my blood altar. I think that's pretty cool. I got a little digital readout there. Thought that was pretty awesome. And I've gone ahead and facaded up the bricks. If you caught the last episode, you'll know that we were doing all kinds of crazy stuff with the integrated dynamics, and I don't want to get too much into that, but I will say that I did work out all of the kinks, and this is what we ended up with, is a bunch of cards like this. I still have a few more to add as soon as we do tier this up, but I don't think I will do that during the episode. I'll just do that off camera. But yeah, it worked out pretty good. It worked out pretty good. It does entirely work exactly the way I eventually wanted it to, and that is due to the way that I redid some of these variables. But as you can see, it's no small, simple thing just to get this one little thing to work. And there is occasionally an issue with it where it, if I unload the chunks and then I reload the chunks, it won't work until I break a piece of it and then replace it. And that's probably because it's cross chunk borders. In fact, if I check that, 3G, yes, it is most definitely across chunk borders, and that's probably the likely, that is probably the likely reason that it is, that it does break occasionally when I go away and then come back to it, because one of those chunks gets loaded first, and then the other one gets loaded, and then it doesn't see the rest of the system. So probably the same reason that this one in here occasionally it gets broken as well. If I F3G that, no, I see no reason why this one would, because it is definitely not across chunk borders, but it also occasionally breaks, and I have to break and replace a piece of the cable to get it to fix. And this was a lot more annoying to do that because it's behind all this stuff. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're working with this stuff. It does occasionally break when you load and unload it. And a simple fix is just to break a piece of the wire and put it back. But anyway, I wanted to talk real quick about some things that we was doing over in the Botania room, and that is just a couple quick things. I've made the thing for under here. I can't remember what it's called, so we're going to break that so we can look at it. The Conjuration Catalyst. So we've got the other catalyst under here, which, oops, didn't mean to fall through there, which is the Alchemy Catalyst. And you have to actually create an Alchemy Catalyst to make a Conjuration Catalyst. So I had to make another one. But I wasn't able to do this one until we had the Elven Gateway, which we've had a few episodes now. I was like, oh yeah, I can make that now, because now I have the Elementium and the Pixie Dust that are required to make those things. I've also been crafting a lot of Terra Steel, just so I have a decent supply of Terra Steel. That's mainly to keep the mana pools from overflowing and make sure that this up here stays working. Now, the other thing you might notice is that when I'm looking at these flowers, the ground is lighting up, and that is due to some new baubles that I made. Particularly this Mana Seer Monocle is the one that's doing that. And you can also, and I'm also able to see the mana bursts, even though they're technically inside those blocks. So I can see through the blocks now to see the mana burst. That's kind of cool because of that monocle. And I made a few other baubles. If we want to take a quick look in here, I made a bauble case, which is actually not too hard. Recipe for that. Hang on. Inventory. Recipe for that. Really simple, actually. And a pretty useful thing because it opens up and then it shows you your bauble slots and shows you all the baubles. I do keep a greater ring of magnetization, but I don't use it very often because one, it can cause a lot of lag on the server and stuff, and we just don't want to do that. But as long as you don't abuse it too much, it's fine. And by abuse it, I mean like drag a ton of items behind you because your inventory is full and you're trying to move a bunch of stuff from one place to another and not lose anything. It's not the best way to do things. Craft a few bags and throw some stuff in some bags if you really need to move a lot of stuff. But plus my pickaxe and a couple of my other tools have magnetism on them. You see they're magnetic, so whenever I use them, things do tend to gravitate towards me, so I don't really need the magnetism ring too much. And then I went ahead and made a few tainted blood pendants for my next slot. Now I'm not wearing any of them right now because they do require mana to keep active. I also made this spectator, but the problem with the spectator, it was kind of cool, but it goes in the same slot as the 1 probe bauble. I didn't even realize I could make a 1 probe bauble, but that's actually pretty cool. The spectator, if I take that off and then I hold something in my hand, I don't know if this is a good example or not. Probably a better example would be like pull that out. Now I have Living Rock in my hand, and you can see that inventory up there is all glowy. The funny part is if I go and look at the drawer controller, it's also glowing because it is technically part of that inventory, or that's the source of that inventory, and that is glowing back there because that is a controller slave, which is another access point for that giant inventory. And then a better example of how this thing works is probably, let's say I was looking for let's say I was looking for a mushroom and I didn't remember what chest I put it in. If I actually had a mushroom, you know, this is the problem I have with the thing. You have to have the item that you're looking for. So I'm not exactly sure what good that does. So I decided to go with the 1 probe. I doubt I'll ever really use this speculator. It's really not too complicated. It's just diamond, emerald, a little bit of stuff. I figured I'd make it just to see how it worked and what it does. But the 1 probe bauble is much more useful to me. For one, because Nacht keeps forgetting to do so in the 1 probe config. If I look at these compacting drawers, it doesn't automatically show the stuff. If I look at a normal drawer, you can see that it actually shows me in the little information tab what is in there and how much of it is in there. But now that I have the bauble, I can get even more information by holding shift. So there we go. Now I can get a detailed information about what is in that drawer. I'm not sure exactly why it gives you the 2 different things. The format is slightly different from the top to the bottom, but it also allows me to do that with the compacting drawers too. So there we go. I can see the exact number of things that I have in the compacting drawer. Of course, that's not. I don't have both of those things. It's a one or the other when it comes to the compacting drawers. Same with these. It's not all 3 of those things. It's one or the other or the other. But anyway, that's not too important. The other thing is I've noticed that I'm not sure if it's the 1 probe or let's find some redstone here. Where's all my redstones? Like kind of behind this wall here. We'll go through here. That, by the way, is the basic interface that I'm using to toggle off and on my system up here. You notice I actually rerouted all of the hoppers so that they all go into this hopper. This is the hopper that redstone interface is sending a redstone signal to, so that I can send a signal to this one and it basically shuts all these off up here. Well, you know what, I didn't think about it, but I don't think it actually shuts off the center one, but so that is a little bit of an issue, but it shouldn't pile up nearly that bad as it could have before. But now you can see I get this little inner thing. Let's actually test that. Is that because of the Manaseer monocle? Yes, it was. So that does give you a little information about redstone too, and redstone items. You know, that tells us whether it's in plus or subtract mode on the comparators, and yeah, well, it's kind of nifty. Kind of a nifty little bauble there from Botania that we're using. And yeah, just generally, I got all these tainted blood pendants. This one is Fortitude, which gives us more resistance, which is armor. This one gives us a better speed boost. I don't really need to use that around the base because I'm already moving fast enough, but this is great for covering large distances across land, especially when I go into bat form, and then I can go even faster. Then we got Strength 2, which gives us the extra, extra damage is always good. Maybe we can now one-hit everything, I hope, if we're using that. And then I got Haste 2, so when I'm doing the mining and stuff, I can go just a little bit faster with my pickaxe. But yeah, those are the baubles. But today we want to upgrade our blood altar to the next tier, and that's not going to be too difficult. All we got to do is get those bloodstone bricks. These right here. Bloodstone tiles, sorry. And they are going to require these weak blood shards. The weak blood shards are going to require some bound blades and some other things. Well, no, just a bound blade. But I did go ahead and make some things to help us with that. So for one, I've got binding reagent. I'm pretty sure that's going to be necessary for a bound blade. And I made some arcane ashes. Recipes for both of those are done in the Hellfire Forge. And that's the binding agent. It's really not too expensive. I made a bunch of it because we're going to do a couple things with it today. We're going to make ourselves a bound blade, possibly a bound pickaxe too, because those can be fun if they still work the way they used to, and I'm hoping that they do. But the bound blade will give us the weak blood shards by killing mobs with it, particularly probably mostly vanilla mobs, but mobs in general should drop weak blood shards if they're killed with a bound blade that's activated. And the other thing I'm going to do is I actually want to make a set of the living armor, the armor from blood magic, which is right over here. There we go, living armor, and those are done also with the arcane ashes in the alchemy array. So what we need to do is we take our arcane ashes. You want to be careful with this stuff because it's quite dangerous. If you accidentally click something into it, it will consume it, and I don't think there's any way to get it back. I lost my backpack to one earlier while I was fooling around with them, and I mean, it was kind of an accident. I had some on the floor because I was gonna I'll just lay these all out and I'll be ready for the episode. And then I went to open my backpack, and it just so happened that I was close enough to the array. The array was like over there. I was close enough to the array that when I right-clicked, it took the backpack into the arcane ashes, and I could not figure out how to get it back. I broke the ashes. I didn't get it back. I ended up having to use a backpack restorer to get my backpack back. So I thank gosh for the backpack restorers in this pack, or I would have lost a lot of good stuff. That I have in there. So yeah, you do want to be kind of careful about these. And you might also notice that I did set up the Fallen Canard. So now when I'm standing near my blood altar, I have regeneration 3. And we can go take a look at that. It is right down here, underneath. I did have it sitting right on top of that mana pool, but that was just a tiny bit too far away from that level up there. You can see that's the bottom of the blood altar right there. And I still can access the bottom of that blood altar too. So I want to eventually, or I potentially want to access that bottom so that we can at some point pipe blood in from another blood altar that is going to be doing the sacrifice runes. Not the self-sacrifice runes, but the sacrifice runes for mob killing and stuff like that. Because this one is all set up. You can see it right there. There's one. Self-sacrifice runes. So our tier 3, if we clear a couple of these out, you can see every one of these except for the center. So there's 5 on each side, underneath this row of bricks here, and there's 5 right here. Again, 5 here. The center one is a rune of capacity, to increase our capacity. That is how we are up to 34,000 capacity in the altar. That is totally full at the moment. It cannot hold any more. Now I have pre-placed all the runes. You can see them right down in there, and now I'm gonna have to go get some more bricks to replace those ones because they went into the system. I should have turned my thing off. Let's just have a stack of bricks in our inventory. It's never a bad thing to have a stack of bricks around. But yeah, I've pre-placed all of the runes on the sides, on these sides too. So there's 7 on each side here. So basically, as soon as we get those tiles, we are good to go. So maybe we should do that first before we continue on. Now let's just get it done. Let's put down one of those. And let's check this again. We need a bound blade. So is that back this way? I believe I've seen it in here. There we go. Bound pickaxe. We might want one of those too, but we actually want the bound blade. It's going to be a diamond sword and the binding reagent. So we put the binding reagent in first. Now, if I'm reading this right, and I think I am, whatever is in this slot is what you put into the arcane ash symbol there first. So once I do that, you can see that it upgrades it into a different symbol, and depending on what you put into the arcane ash, it's going to upgrade it to a different symbol. And that's also how you're going to make your sigils. And then we need a diamond sword. I think I have one over here. Yeah, I have a couple of them. Cool. I might want to do this more than once because I'm not sure if it's going to have a level and how that's going to work. But there we go. We throw it in there. It does some lightning effects. Those don't actually hurt anything or do any actual damage. I don't think they're even making any noise. That could just be the fact that I have weather turned off. I always do that in my Minecraft playthroughs, just immediately turn the weather off, the weather sounds off. There's my bound blade. Oh, and it does have a level. Okay, so we're gonna be making a few of these. That's okay. That's okay. Well, we got another diamond sword right in here. I've got that diamond sword. I hate to kind of use that because that's kind of a neat sword. Eldritch blade, sharpness, mending, and unbreaking. It's kind of a not bad one that I found in a rogue dungeon on the bottom level. So let's do this again, and then let's hope we get a better sword this time. A better, because yeah, I mean, well, I can tell you what, if it's not better or good enough, we can always combine the two, I hope, and maybe get another chance at a different level. Because I'm not happy to settle for basic. Never happy to settle for basic. Uncommon, I'm also generally not happy to settle for. And if we do combine them, I'm back to basic. Okay, so we're gonna have to make a few more of these real quick. So let's go and make some diamond blades, and I probably am gonna need, if I had to guess, we're gonna need some special. Probably not gonna be able to just use sticks, but we'll try. I'm pretty sure that is gonna have been changed to needing a handle. Yeah. As I figured. So we're gonna need a handle real quick. This thing right here from Spartan Weapons, which is 4 sticks and a wool, will get us 4 of those. So that will give us 4 more tries. It'll actually give us more than 4 tries because we can combine them if they're bad. Or if they're not good enough, I should say. Not to say that they're bad, but no, it is because they'd be bad. Alright, so we'll grab 4. We'll make 4 more diamond swords, and we'll take 4 more stabs at this until we can get something reasonably acceptable. Because, if we're going to use it, we might as well have a good one. I made a bunch of sentient swords until I got at least a legendary, so maybe, I don't know if I'm going to go for at least a legendary, but I wouldn't settle for less than ultra, I don't think. I wouldn't settle for less than that, so let's do that. In fact, let's get another one going over here while this one finishes up. Maybe one of these two will be good enough, and if not, we can do some combining. So that one's basic. We're going to be doing the same thing with our living armor too. Basic. Ah, goodness. That is sad. Ultra rare. There we go. We can settle for that. I will settle for that. So I'll put the extra basic one away. And now that I have, I didn't bind that one to me, but as soon as I use this by shift right clicking, yeah, there we go. You'll see that it actually turns into a sword. Keeps its stats down there, the ultra rare thing. And now I can actually use it as a weapon. Which all I really need to do to get the blood orb things is come down to my mob farm and wait for a couple of these guys to spawn. Do 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 do. That's probably not going to sound good with the music in the background, but There we go, there's a few. And I gotta kill him with the bound blade. Now I wouldn't have to kill him with the bound blade, technically. As long as I have the bound blade in my hand, I can kill them with the thing here and potentially get him. And it's not gonna give it to him every time. It's not gonna give it to you every time, that's for sure. Oh, maybe I actually need to hit them with the bound blade to get them the effect on them. I can't remember. I can't remember now. I'll give a few more here. We just kind of smack him. See if he gets like a... see, I don't... oh, there we go. That's what we need right there. Weak blood shard. We manage to kill him anyway. And that's right. This doesn't have any durability, so I don't really need to worry about that. And that's the main reason I was thinking about what... oop, there we go. Leveled up the bound blade already. Nice. I like it. Maybe we'll get a second one here. You can see that they're not that common. I've killed how many? I've only got one so far. Does seem like it does a decent amount of damage. There, I've got two now. That should be good for the moment because we're going to want one in order to create some of those tiles, which is just a stone plus one of these is going to give us 16 of those large blood tiles. We need 4 of them for upgrading the altar, so we just pop that loose, pop it in back there. I'm going to do that again in all 4 corners. See, I left a nice space in there for it. Now it's going to be invisible after we put these back in. I'm not sure that I like the, or I didn't really do that entirely and intentionally, but it just worked out that way. That you won't be able to see these bloodstone tiles back in there. But that should have, and let me get my divination sigil out here. Somewhere in here should be a divination sigil. I'm sure it's staring me right in the face. Or that, or I put it someplace else. And yeah, there it is right there, divination sigil. And if we use that and look at the altar, we can see that it is now a tier 4 altar. And you can see that the blood is going down a little bit. Now the reason that the blood is going down a little bit is because as soon as it became a tier 4 altar, there's 4 more runes of capacity down in there. And those are now applying to it. And the internal buffer tank is 10% of the total capacity. So that has to go and fill up now. It's not a big deal. Not too big of a deal. But that should, in fact, we can actually look at that number. If we just pull that off for a second. If we look in the fluid reader, we can scroll down here and we can see the fluid capacity total would be 58,000. Wow, actually that's a little bit more than I expected it to be. So maybe those are a different value than what I thought, but that's more than enough capacity for what we want to do with this altar, I believe. Now the next tier of orb is going to require 40,000 blood. Now we can come in and let's see, make sure we have our thing. We do not have our thing, which is I'm actually just going to drop those in there. I should unactivate this. When you're not using this bound blade, you should unactivate it because while it is active, it is always drawing a little bit of blood from our blood pool, which has currently 54,000 LP in it. Life essence. That's what we're life pool. Goodness. Okay, so we're gonna end up putting. We're gonna take those over someplace else. You know what? I think I'm gonna need some more of those. We might need to get another one of those things because there's something else I want to create today with them. But what did I come over here for? Put a couple of those diamond swords in there. Why not? And yeah. Oh, to get this thing out right here. The sacrificial dagger. So now we have that. Come over here, we can see that this is up to a particular tier, and if I go ahead and look at that with the divination sigil, you can see that I got 1988 of something and plus 120 something. I don't really understand what those numbers mean exactly. I think that is a percentage, bonus percentage or something like that. I'm not 100% certain how those numbers work. Somebody can leave a comment and let me know the exact science behind that. But it does look like the internal buffer has completely filled up, and now it is settled down again. 31,600. Now keep in mind that other than these 4 speed runes at the top, and 4 runes of capacity for each tier, for tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. There's 4 runes of capacity on each level, right in the center. All of the rest of the runes under there are sacrifice runes, so that should increase the amount of blood that we drop in there. Now if I come over here and I use this, wow, it totally filled it from that level that it was at. Just completely filled it right up. That's pretty useful. So we're going to go ahead and throw on our weak blood shard in there, and that's going to start cooking down. And that's going to become our next blood orb. I believe that's going to be apprenticed or magician. Maybe that's magician. If we look at orb. So it'll be the 3rd tier. Is that master? We actually already have the magician one, and now we're making the master one. Okay, cool. We're going to be master of blood magic. There it is. There it is. And we're gonna go ahead and bind that one too, because we're gonna be using that one to fill up our life pool eventually here soon, probably very soon. Let me put a couple of these things away. Let me drop off some of the other stuff that'll go in there. And before we go any further, there is one other thing that I want to do. Let me get one more blood shard from down here. Oh, come on, hurry up, spawn guys. I need one more blood shard, please. But basically, I'm doing this. We're going to make the armor here in just a minute. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other things that I wanted to get to do once I had a tier 4, and that is to make a teleposer, because I believe that's going to allow us to start moving spawners. I might want to, probably not that spawner. That one's been there forever, and I'll probably just leave it there. But there are some other spawners that I might want to move around. So let's come in here and grab another stone, because we're going to take this one and make some more large bloodstones, because that is actually going to go there so that we can make these tier 1 tanks. Now I'm making 16 tier 1 tanks. These have a 16 bucket capacity, which is way better than any other tank in this pack. Let's see, does that give me... Oh, they do stack. Nice. Okay, so that does that. And then we are going to need a whole bunch more runes. Now, where did I leave those at? Oh, I'm actually going to need to make more runes. But these can be used to tier up to a tier 2 blood tank. And we can do that again. So if I do that with all of those, I'm actually going to use some more of those things. And we've got a ton of blank slates already pre-made. I've been making slates like crazy today, just so hopefully I would have enough, and I might still be short, but we can grab let's see, and then 2 more. That should be enough if we do that. And I'm a little short on slates, but that's okay. Is it like this? I think it's like this, and that will give us blank runes. Tons of blank runes, and we'll go ahead and make those last couple blank runes too. We'll just use up all of our slates, all of our blank slates. That's probably a bad idea, but they're not. Theirs ones are actually fairly quick to make more of. But then we can do this, and we can split those in half, and we put some more of those there, and there we go. Now we got 8 tier 2s, which are 32 capacity, and then we can split those again and make tier 3s, which are 64 bucket capacity. See where we're going with this. We're going to tear this up a few more times. Looks like we got one more time to do it, but we are out of runes. I will do that the rest of the way off camera, because basically the main reason I want these high capacity tanks is basically to hold blood, to hold our life essence from our basically as a blood capacitor, more or less, type thing. I would use them in the mana thing, but I've discovered that mana is not technically a fluid, which is weird. I mean, it looks like a fluid and all, but you can't manipulate it like you can other fluids. So it is a substance unto itself. So no messing with mana that way. But I'm hoping that I can use the integrated dynamics fluid moving in order to move blood from the other altar. We're going to eventually have a second altar that's down. That's a sacrifice altar, not a self-sacrifice altar. This is our self-sacrifice altar. And then down in the bottom of the dungeon, someplace where there's a lot of spawners, we're going to put a self-sacrifice altar, and then we're going to put a ritual with that basically kills all the things that spawn there. So, and that will give us a continuous feed of blood. And that is the plan anyway. So the other thing we want to do today, and I mean a lot of what I'm doing today. Oh, I should mention this one too. This is not a bauble, though it could be upgraded to a ring bauble, but it works just fine in my inventory. The obsidian skull makes me immune to fire, and that combined with the lava charm makes me pretty much immune to any kind of burning effect. So now if I fall in the lava, I shouldn't take any damage at all. And if I get in front of a blaze killed me the other today. I was kind of annoyed with it, so I immediately came back to my base and I'm like, why don't I make an obsidian skull, because I had all the things for it. And yeah, I was really happy that I did, because I then immediately went and got hit by a blaze again, but this time it did nothing. It did nothing to me because I'm now basically immune to fire, which is really good as a vampire, because apparently, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I sure do feel like vampires take a lot of extra damage from fire ticks compared to normal players. So yeah, I can stand into fire. Ah, it's so warm. And yep, doesn't really hurt me. And this is some actual blood, some of the blood life essence from the blood altar there, which has a slightly better effect than the water that I have over here. But yeah, well, tried to make this area a nice little tranquil garden, like it's supposed to be. It's a tranquil little garden. So, but the next thing we need to do is get on with making our actual armor. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to activate all those with binding agent. And that looks terrible, but it'll work. It doesn't hurt anything. Maybe I should have spread it out just for the effect, but we need to get a set of iron armor, because I believe that's what it takes. We look at living armor right up here. Living helmet is going to be iron helmet, iron chest plate, etc., etc. Now I have a iron helmet in here that I'm not currently that'll work. The problem is I don't have any of the other bits, so we're going to grab a leather tunic, a leather leggings, and some leather boots. And if we come over here to the smithy area, I've been making a ton of iron plates for this occasion. So if we do this, and we can make ourselves an iron chest, do this, and I believe it's like that. Yep, get us the iron boots, and then the iron legs is like so. In this pack anyway. And those recipes are actually largely due to due to some stuff that I did, because Nock wanted to do them out of plates and stuff, and well, there was a whole different thing that he had set up where you would turn leather into chain, then chain into the final thing. I'm like, nah, it really should just be leather right with the next tier up. And so I did a bunch of recipes for them, and that's what they all are. So like all of the metal armor is plates around a set of leather, which is actually fairly accurate to what real armor might have been. I mean, more accurate than the standard recipe, I suppose. So here we go. We got basic, uncommon, 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 That's so terrible. So I will do this again because well, for one, we can use this as our armor out here, and none of those were particularly good. So we can go ahead and make another set of it, basically. And we'll do the same thing again. This time I will do one on that side, one on that side. I can't believe that went on the Opponentrs platform. One there and one back there. And we're going to go ahead and activate with that with the binding agent so that I don't accidentally click something else into it. But now that I've done that, we'll go and grab another set of leather. Another set of leather. We've got enough for a few sets here. And hopefully we're going to get something better on this go. So we'll start with the chest. Actually, that goes there. And then the helmet is just, yeah, pretty much basic standard recipe with a piece of leather. Well, standard, I guess it's standard shape, not standard recipe. Standard shape with the piece of leather in it, but the shape is made with plates. Alright, so let's get all of this in. There, 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 and there. I'm also thinking of making a few sigils real quick. And basically all this is in preparation. We're getting ready to go fight the dragon, I think tomorrow or the next day, really soon here. The other thing I was thinking about doing is maybe making a few potions, Botania potions, combination potions where it would use uncommon, basic. Ah, that's so terrible. That's so terrible. Okay, well we can do this. We'll just put another set on there. There we go. We got 2 sets of living armor on there. Why not? Why not? Let's grab another. This is a good way to get rid of some of this leather armor that's been building up in this chest. There we go. Now we're going to get some more space in there at least. We'll try one more time, and if we get nothing particularly great on this time, we'll just go with the best pieces that we currently have, I guess. So that. I'm probably going to need to grab a little bit more plates out. Yep, just a few. Alright, this shall be my last attempt on camera anyway. What I will probably do is keep going until I get some pretty decent stuff. Although I can always just call it training armor, because it's going to get different abilities based on what you do. So living armor kind of levels up its own kind of way too, in addition to whatever levels the levels mod gives it. It's also going to get like random abilities based on the actions that you perform while wearing it. So maybe I can use that to my advantage of having several sets of this stuff. I can do different activities wearing the different sets, gain different abilities on them, and then maybe eventually we can strip. There's a legendary at least. Hey, that's not bad. Uncommon, basic, legendary. So we got a legendary here. So that's wearable. Okay. Before we do that, let's go and let's just go ahead and put our dragon armor on that side. We're going to go with the legendary helmet there. Do we have... Let's pull that off. Let's see, that's uncommon, and that one's basic, so we're going to go with an uncommon chest. We'll put that chest back. And see, uncommon, basic, and uncommon, so that doesn't matter. We're good there. Basic was this one. What's that one? Uncommon. Okay. Alright, well, it's definitely not as good as I would like it to be, but we can work on it. We can work on it. But we're not going to do all of that on camera. I just wanted to make a few sets just to see what we got. You can see how many times I have to... I often do this. Whenever I craft something, I craft it many times in order to get a decent quality one. Well, I mean, a better than regular quality one, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I like nice things. What can I say? I like nice things. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I guess the only other thing was to try and put together one of these potions to get ready for that dragon fight. So I think that should be the beginning of the next episode, is the dragon fight with the server and everything. I've already got the location of the dragon, and I know nobody's. I'm pretty sure nobody's been through there. Pretty sure nobody's been through it because it's not activated yet. That would be the first indication that maybe somebody's already gone over there, but I'm pretty sure nobody has. But if we go in here and we go to the end, yeah, there it is, right there it is. And I've already brought a few of these things over here, so it's ready to go. I've already cleared out the lava just to make sure that nobody... Now I don't know if there's more than one fortress like this. I assume they all lead to the same dragon, but I figured I would get this one all ready to go, so it's all ready to go. All I got to do is bring some ender eyes with us, and everybody can port over there using some flue dust. So there we go. Yeah, there we go. The other thing I was thinking that would be nice to have, although I have a feeling that the dragon fight is going to be pretty short regardless, but it would be kind of cool to have a potion bottle, a Botania potion thing. And I want to do one of the bigger bottles, so let's look at that in here somewhere. It's at Alphamancy, probably would be... No, let's actually look at natural apparatus. Brewing flasks is the one we're looking for. Made with alf glass. Typical elven container for brews. Contains 6 doses rather than 4, which is good. Ingredients cost to brew something in a flask is smaller. The mana cost is doubled out of a regular bottle. That's fine. I don't care about the mana cost. We got plenty of that. Lastly, given that the bottleneck of flask is larger than the contents can be consumed faster. Okay, so you can drink faster. Okay, so you get 3 of them for 3 elf glass, however you say that. So grab 3 of those out, and then we'll do that. There we go. We got 3 of those, and we don't need to go up there right now. But we do need to have a brewing stand out, so let's bring that out, and then we can put one of those on top. And from what I understand here, we can do botanical brewing. We can do multiple brews in the same thing. So, okay, once a brew it can be created with ingredients, mana will start flowing. Just wait a bit. Okay, so yada yada yada. Somewhere I'm sure it says you can do multiple brews in the same potion. Mana functions, solvent, and okay, yeah. Unlike potions, brews have defined recipes. Each vial contains multiple doses. I'm just reading here. Okay, in fact, I use conjure some sort of potion. I could swear. What's a complex brew? Apart from the standard run-of-the-mill brews, they don't pass for the mega potions brew stand. There's also some more complex, which apply either a combination of effects or new beneficial effects. A combination of effects. Which ones are the combination effects? Feather feet. Vanity thing, Crimson Shade. Thing, Brew of Absolution. Okay, so not sure I see how the combination of effects work. It doesn't really specifically say how that is supposed to work. I was thinking that you could do more than one thing in these, but maybe I'm wrong. I know one thing though, it would be a great boon to have a regeneration one. Where's that one at? That's a good one to probably brew. So if we go into brewing thing for the dragon fight, somewhere back in here we should have a regeneration 2. So gas tier, glowstone, and netherwort. So let's go grab those things and we'll brew one up. We'll brew at least one of these up. We're gonna need netherwort for whatever we do. Pretty sure. So that. Need a gas tier. I've got a few of those left. And glowstone. I want to do this one by itself, and then I might try to combine the effects of combine a couple effects into another vial. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think it's gonna work, but we shall see. Just simply putting that stuff on there, we'll get things going. There's our childhood blues. Alright, okay. Put that on there. Of course we're going to need netherwort for whatever we're trying to brew here. So, brew of restoration, fortitude, which is resistance, fire resistance, water breathing, invisibility, night vision, absorption is probably another great one to have. Potato, netherwort, and the golden apple. And we've got a bunch of golden apples from dungeon loot, so we'll just go ahead and put that and that on there, and then go grab a potato. Not a baked potato, just a regular potato. I think it was a regular potato anyway. And we'll do that absorption. Oh, how did I get 2 netherwort on there? Didn't mean to put both netherwort on. Okay, potato and then golden apple. Now I wonder, because there's like 6 tiers on there, right? Yeah, 6 things moving around. I wonder if I can put enough things on there to do. Hang on, what's the complex brews? Maybe the complex brews are the ones that take the 6. Yeah, there it is. A brew applies both positive and negative effects. Taking it leaves the affected individual in a state of power but also vulnerable. That could be interesting. Brew of overload? We got one more bottle. Let's make a brew of overload. Why not? See what it does. We'll pass it around before we fight the dragon. So we're going to need blaze powder, sugar, glowstone, a mana steel, and a spider eye. Alright, so let's go gather that stuff up. Of course, netherwort was the first thing on there. Netherwort. We need a mana steel. I think I've got a drawer for spider eye. I do. There we go, spider eye. Blaze powder was on that list. Glowstone was on that list. What was the other thing on that list? Sugar. That was the last thing. Sugar. Alright, so find us a sugar cane and convert that to sugar. There we go. Back over to here where we're going to do the final brew here that we're going to probably take with us to the dragon fight. Nope, not that. That. There we go. And that's going to take a bunch of mana. Doesn't seem like it's taking all that much mana to make these. Pretty cool. There we go. Blue. Ah, there we go. Strength 4, Speed 3, Weakness 2, and Hunger 3. Ooh, Weakness 2. Okay, why does it give us weakness 2 for 3 minutes? That's weird. Now, I think there's some... Of course, there's another brew that we can make, of course, or just take a milk with us to clear those negative effects. Although I think milk will clear all the effects. I wonder if the weakness and hunger come after the other two wear off. Because that would be cool. That would be kind of cool. Strength 4 for a minute and a half, and then have to deal with the weakness for 3 minutes. I could deal with that. I could deal with that. But there's some brews for us to take with us to fight the dragon. I'll put those away. We will go ahead and put this away in here, and put this away, put that away. Yeah, I think we're done. I think we're done for today. We've upgraded to the next tier of Blood Altar. Oh, I guess there is one more thing I just want to know. Let's empty this thing all the way out real quick, because I just want to know, and maybe you guys want to know as well, exactly how much we get from our 1988 plus 120 on that. And keep in mind that we have all sacrifice runes except for a total of 12 runes of capacity. Everything else is sacrifice. The 12 runes of capacity and 4 runes of speed. Everything else is sacrifice. Let's see what we get in total for 1 prick of finger. Wow. Wow is all I can say. That's a lot of blood for just one small prick. Yeah, so we got that. We're good. The only other thing, oh yeah, I almost forgot. We're gonna do this too. I'm gonna fit this in at the end, because now that we got a tier 4 altar, we can make a teleposer. And I wanted to find out if the teleposer would be able to move spawners. I think it will, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's pull that out and make ourselves a pair of teleposers. We need those, and we're going to need one more in order to program it, I believe. Did that just put itself? Okay, no, we won't do that. There we go. We need 3 of these. Yeah, that's what I thought. They don't use move blocks in the world. Yes, we know. Use the move blocks. Can we move a spawner with them? That's the question. Of course, we're going to need a bunch more of ender pearls in order to craft these teleposers. Because you need this block right here. The teleposer itself is gold. Need 1 for each end, I believe, and a focus in order to use them. So let's just go down and make a quick experiment. We'll find a spawner. It just can be any old spawner down here. In fact, do we still have the one over here? Yeah, we do have this one right here. Okay, cool. So let's put our teleposer under there, right? And then we put that in there. Teleposition focus. Trying to remember how these things work. There we go. Now I can't remember. Well, we don't really need to move it far. Let's just try to move it just a little ways. Okay. Now, do we put that in? It's been a while since I've used this, and I could probably go look at a wiki or whatever, but it's more fun to just kind of stumble around and figure it out. Now, do I give this the... Okay, simple as that. Simple as that, and it absolutely does allow us to move the spawner. And of course, now that I've moved it slightly, it's going to start spawning stuff. Now, if I hit the button again, will it send it back? Yeah, it will. That is pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. Okay, cool. I guess that's all we really need to say about that. You can upgrade these. You can see there's different levels of teleposer focus. The level of the focus will determine how many blocks it'll move. Like the smallest tier focus that we're using right here, this one will only move 1 block. Now I believe this is a 3x3 and this is a 5x5 and that's a 7x7. And this one you make that. This one you just leave it in the blood altar a little bit longer and you'll get a bit bigger. This one you actually have to combine with a weak blood shard, which we can see is not a real big issue right now. And then the final one you have to get a demon blood shard, and that's something for a whole nother episode. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's gonna let me have a lot of fun. So anyway, guys, we're gonna call that it for today. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, do be sure to leave a like, a comment, and all the other fun stuff. And until next time, I will catch you later. Bye.